In the shadows of the system, families torn apart. Tiff and the Punisher rise up. It's time to fight from the heart.
CPA's knocking at the door with lies and twisted files, stealing kids in the dead of night, erasing all our smiles. Courtrooms rigged, judges blind, rights stripped away so fast. But we know the Constitution, we're breaking free at last.
Fight CPS,
Expose the corruption,
parental rights,
our revolution.
Tiff and the Punisher, we're taking a stand. Reunite families across the land.
Abolish the abuse, restore what they took. With knowledge and fire, we're rewriting the book.
Child support chains, police at the gate, family court battles, sealing our fate. But warriors unite, share your stories bold. Constitutional shields turning fear into gold. From investigations to reform, we demand no more violations. We'll reclaim our stand. Hear the voices rising, echoes in the hall. Parents fighting back, we won't let them fall.
Join the community, amplify the call. Tiff and the Punisher will conquer it all.
Fight CPS,
Expose the corruption,
parental rights,
our revolution.
Tiff and the Punisher, we're taking a stand. Reunite families across the land.
Abolish the abuse, restore what they took. With knowledge and fire, we're writing the book. Subscribe, share and rise, together we're strong. Tiff and the Punisher, this is our song.
Fight CPS.
We won't stand for corruption. We won't stand for stealing kids. This is the Tiff and the Punisher podcast, now joined by the angry citizen. This is a powerful trio, set out to spread the Constitution. This is a powerful trio, set out to stop the evil CPS.
We won't stand for corruption, and we won't stand for stealing kids. This is the Tiff and the Punisher podcast, now joined by the angry citizen.
Darren, my man.
Mr. Dana, Tiff.
Hey, there's
There's
our
Debo.
Bigler.
It's Friday night. Are we excited
It
about
is. Yes, Kingston said, "Oh my God, Yaya, look, there's a Barbie doll on your show." I said,
No,
"I know,
that's-
isn't she beautiful?"
It's so great. So here it is, guys. This is what we've all been waiting for here, and I'm really hoping that at the end of this, that everybody comes to an equal understanding where everybody stands, and I'm hoping that this doesn't end in any sort of an animosity or any sort of any goodness. I think that this is a positive direction that the movement could end up in. That's what I'm really hoping for out of this. I mean, I don't know. What are you thinking there, Tiff?
Yeah, I'm hoping so too, because in all honesty, everybody that's in this movement has something different to bring to the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we would all just come together and bring what we have, we really
Amen.
true. Well, we're getting somewhere here in Virginia, but
Mm-hmm.
we could really move this thing so much further. But everybody wants to be attacking everybody and talking about everybody, and I'm over it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like us, don't watch us.
That's right. Danny,
Right.
So
what's your hopes here, buddy?
I'm thinking we're going to have a rational, logical debate, discussion. It's okay to disagree. At the end of the day, I'm all about facts. I've said many times, as you know, the truth is the sword of God. All right. And I have opinions and I have ideas. And anything I say, any claim I make, I am prepared to back it up with facts. And if you think I'm wrong, you need to prove me wrong. And if you do, I will concede. Prove me wrong, I will concede. That's the core of the debate, the discussion. We present our facts, we present our evidence. If you tell me something I think is wrong, I will tell you I believe you're wrong, and I will show you why. That's where we need to go with this.
That's right. So I brought in an extra special host for us right now. I brought in the legend himself, Mr. Vincent Davis. He's the one that got me even going in this whole podcasting world and everything. I sat with him for, almost a year on his platform, and he's the one that taught me everything. The one thing that sticks with me to this day that he says, Darren, there's two things that don't happen in family law. There's two things that don't belong in family law. There's two things that don't happen in there. The truth isn't told, and the law isn't argued. And those are the two things that I remember that Davis always told me. I know I said it wrong. I'm sure he's going to correct me. But let's get him out here and let's see what he.
Bring him in. Let's
said.
hear him say it.
Let's hear Mr. Davis say it. Mr. Davis.
Good evening, all.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, Darren.
This is exciting.
The mentee has become the mentor.
No,
Nice.
Mr. Davis, you will always be that, my friend. Always, always. I still, to this day, I still speak highly of you. I talk about you all the time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I want to say one thing to Tiffany.
Mm-hmm.
Young lady, you have it exactly right. we cannot be fighting each other.
Thank you.
I've been in this movement over 30 years, and I've seen people just fight and tear down each other. We are not the enemy. The enemy is CPS. Don't ever get that twisted. We need all of us to vote as a block,
Thank you.
nationwide, state to state, federal, and we need that person you disagree with.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tiffany, you are exactly right. Let's join together, despite our differences, and make a change.
I love this guy.
Mr. Davis is the damn man.
Dude, I've been saying this for so long. And let me say this. The devil loves discord. The strongest power the devil has, the devil loves to lie, and the devil loves discord. And that is getting his enemies to fight among themselves, because he doesn't have to spend one moment of energy fighting against people if he can get them to fight each other. We have to stop that. and unite on what we agree on.
Hey,
Mr.
have you ever put 5 or 6 crabs in a small bucket and watch that no crab will ever make it out? Because once one is trying to get out or making it, the other one pulls him down back into the bucket. We cannot be crabs in a bucket. We have to support each other. We have to get our votes. We have to change laws. We have to vote in the right judges. If your state, has voting for judges. And this is done by people who you disagree with.
Mhm. Well said.
So let's get ourselves together.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it, Mr. Davis. That's great. See, that comes from the man right there. You
Slam
realize between Tiffany and him, you have over a half a century of skill and workmanship in this industry. But Davis, I gotta taunt this for you because I know that I was with you first and you were my mentor, you still are. But Tiffany has one of these, Mr. Davis. Look at this.
Oh, wow. What was that?
That's the NAACP Presidential Award that she won this past.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's great. I couldn't have gotten a better second to you, Mr. Davis. But that all being said, we got Jessica Saxton and we got Lewis Ewan back here, and those two are they're ready to tell us what they know, what they don't know, and we're going to hear what it is that they needed to say, that they're all fired up. So let's get Mario. Let's do like a little intro of each of them, and then we'll let them go at it. Right? Fair enough. All right. Let's bring out Miss Saxton first. We'll bring her out. I'm going to find her here. No, she's here. And there she is. Jessica, how are you?
Good. How are y'all doing?
We're good. We're good. Do you want to? Why don't you give everybody a little introduction of yourself and tell everybody what you are about, what you do, what you think you want to do, or whatever. Just give us an introduction of you.
Sure. So my name is Jessica Saxton. I got started in this advocacy world, not by choice, but out of necessity. And that was as a result of family court, watching the injustices happen right before my eyes, not being able to understand or make sense of any of it. Once I reached out to other families that had the same judge as me, that's when I realized that this was a systemic issue, at the very least within our small county. At the time, I did not realize that this was happening nationwide, had no clue until I started searching on some of the groups on Facebook and talking with other people in California and Maine and Washington State, and it literally was the same playbook. And I have a high level for justice, always been that way. I was the person in school that would punch the pretty girl for picking on the the person that they didn't like, and
Nice.
had a couple of fights like that in my life. And so I have a very high level for justice, and I just thought, this can't happen anymore, and I don't know what to do. I mean, I technically started this publicly on April 8th after they took my daughter, so less than a year. And I'll be the first to admit that I didn't know at the time what I was doing. All I know is that we have to expose injustices that's happening. We must get these children back to their families, and we've got to abolish family court, because they cannot continue to profit off of the destruction of our families. And so that is my main ministry. That's what I'm out to accomplish.
Awesome.
Well said.
Very nice.
Fantastic.
Do we have any questions for Jessica? Anybody here on the panel? Or do we any questions that you want to come up with real quick? Or do you want to move on to Lewis? Mr. Davis, you got any questions?
What state and county is she in?
I am in Blount. My case is out of Blount County, Tennessee, which is the neighboring county south of Knoxville. So that's where it all started for me.
Do you know Connie?
Connie Regule?
Yes.
I've spoken with her a few times. Yes, but I do not know her personally, no.
She's one of my heroes.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
High praise.
Yeah. I still carry that too, Mr. Davis. We have Connie on here as regular as she lets us. She's really busy now, but we still keep in touch with her. I keep that land open. So another thing that I've learned from you, one of your contacts, Mr. D. All right. Anybody else? Tiff, you got any questions for Jess? Oh, yes.
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to tell you that my little grandson thinks you're a Barbie doll. So don't take that offensively.
I think that's a compliment.
Right.
There was someone, I believe it was in Indiana, I can't remember, but she actually got up and said, I don't know what's happening with the caffeinated Ken and Barbie, but it was insane. But anyway, well, maybe one day I'll get to meet your grandson and he can see I'm just a normal person and I'm not plastic. So
I think he means that you're
not
very
about
pretty.
that. You're very pretty to him.
I think that's what he's saying, is he thinks you're very pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't mean anything
I'm
by
flattered.
it. Of course, not like that. And he's only 7.
Yeah, I'm flattered. Thank you.
Oh, it's the supermodel. Perfect. He knows what he's
The
doing.
children speak the truth, don't they? They open their mouths and they say the absolute God's honest truth without hesitation.
Out of the mouth of babes. Yep.
Yeah, if I had $1 for every time a little kid called me fat, I'd have at least $50.
Dude, I told my son I was 122 years old, and he believed me. He opened his eyes. He said, "Dad, you are so old."
All right, let's bring him out. Mr. Lewis Ewing. I don't know which one he wants me to use here. Let's see. Which camera Lewis is on here?
Yeah, bring it on.
Is that
I want to hear the disagreement and hear the evidence.
Here we go. Here.
Hear me? The other one, the phone.
You're back now, Lewis. We hear you.
Yeah, the phone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
We
We're
hear
good.
you.
Okay. The disagreement I have with what everybody just said about attacking each other, I agree 100% if people are promoting valid, legitimate legal arguments. However, the problem the family law movement has right now is the same with a lot of other groups. There are sovereign citizens, patriots, patriots for profit, attention-seeking opportunists, and grifters who are coming into the movement and taking advantage of parents' ignorance of the law to scam parents out of money and teaching them wrong legal theories. Okay, so Mr. Davis, I'm sure you're going to agree with me on this. Rule 17 and Rule 20 are both court rules. Jessica Saxton and Tanoa Downing have been going into...
I'm sorry. I'm watching YouTube. Can you guys see me and Lewis?
Yes.
You
Yes.
can? Okay, I can't see me. Okay.
So
All right,
Yes,
just wanted
we
to make
see
sure.
you. Go ahead.
Got
Let me make sure that. Let me check that too.
I'm sorry, Lewis.
It's fine. So, Tanoa Downing, there's been numerous videos on Jessica Saxton's page, and you can look at it. And this is actually illegal for them to do what they're doing. It's a violation of the Tennessee Unauthorized Practice of Law statute. They're showing up at county council meetings, which is the wrong place. They're saying, you can listen to her tapes. I'm here under the authority of Rule 17 and Rule 20 by the United States Supreme Court. There's no such thing. They made that up. Neither Rule 17 or Rule 20 were drafted with the intent to make an appearance anywhere. You don't even go to court and say, Your Honor, I'm here under the authority of Rule 17 and Rule 20 by the United States Supreme Court. Listen to her videos. That's exactly what she says. Now, both rules are a legitimate court rule. Rule 17, when you read it, okay, you can file what's called a Rule 17 motion to name the real party in interest. So you're either asking the court or the other side to name the real party in interest. That's all it is. It's a court rule. You can make a motion out of it called a Rule 17 motion. Same thing with Rule 20 for permissive joinder. So if somebody has a vested interest in the case, they can file a Rule 20 motion for permissive joinder, asking the judge to allow them to join the case. And obviously it's discretionary. That's why it's called permissive joinder. It's a legitimate court rule. Now, what they've done is they've taken two legitimate court rules and turned it into what I call a frivolous sovereign citizen argument. The next two statutes that they're violating, 18 U.S.C. 241 and 18 U.S.C. 242, they are not self-executing statutes. They're not standalone statutes. Okay, both of those statutes require that you cite the underlying offense first. You're talking about deprivation of constitutional rights. So an example would be if a judge set a cash-only bail or no bail for something like driving without license, driving on spin, that would be illegal. Now, most state constitutions use the terminology all criminal offenses shall be bailable by sufficient sureties except for a capital offense, which is murder. That's the only situation in which a judge can say no bail or cash only bail. Okay, so that would be a deprivation of a constitutional right if they didn't give you a bail. And so you could also add 18 U.S.C. 241 and 18 U.S.C. 242 after you cited or pleaded what the underlying specific statutory violation is. You cannot cite those statutes by themselves. They are not standalone statutes. They're not self-executing. The example I give to everybody, look, it's like they put frosting in the cake can without putting in the cake mix. They forgot to put the cake mix in first. You don't just put frosting in the cake pan. So it's frivolous to go in front of a crowd of people and start reading off the penalties, $10,000, and the penalties, death. You know, you're stirring up the emotions of all the parents who are upset about losing their children, and you're giving them false hopes, and you're spouting off a bunch of nonsensical legal gibberish at a county council meeting.
All right, Louis,
Okay.
your 2 minutes is up, bub. 2 minutes right there. Hold up.
That was entirely too much for us to have an organized discussion. You just made like 100 different points, accusations, including some disparaging labels like grifter.
Hold up.
And I can't imagine this poor woman has the time to respond to every single thing you just said.
It's okay. Yeah, he's Louis, you're very good at talking very quickly, which I am not, because I'm from the South, and so that's something that I had to learn. So speed up how I talk. So I hear what you're saying, Louis, and I understand why you would say these things, especially if you have studied the general and typical traditional practice of law, which it sounds like that you have for, I think you said 20 plus years, 25 plus years. So for a very long time. So you would be considered to me like I'm walking in to go and debate a seasoned attorney, even though I guess you're not an attorney, but you're licensed to practice and you've been admitted into the bar. I don't quite understand that, but I would like to approach, you say that we are going to county commissioners and that I am saying that I am acting under the authority of the United States Supreme Court and that I'm providing that notice with under Rule 17 and Rule 20. I don't say with the authority of Rule 17 and Rule 20. The way that I present that every time, you'll never find me say exactly what you said. What I say is that we are providing notice in accordance with the United States Supreme Court, Rule 17 and Rule 20. Being in accordance and under the authority of are two very distinct differences. So when I'm doing something in accordance with, all I'm doing is reminding the lowest county level, the state level, I'm reminding them that we have a Rule 20. We are going to attempt to invoke Rule 17 and Rule 20. Rule 17 is the original jurisdiction. Rule 20 is under extraordinary writs. So we literally are attempting to make sure that we isolate all of our state remedies, local and state remedies, in order to get into the Supreme Court. Now, the argument for our basis is based under Article 3 of the United States Constitution. And specifically, paragraph 3, I believe, where it talks about that a state cannot be a party in the case, that anytime that a state is a party, that the Supreme Court has original jurisdiction. Well, as of Wednesday, during my hearing in Blount County, Tennessee, I had an attorney that wrote on paper that he was a state agent. He literally wrote that in a motion to quash my subpoena for him to be questioned. He wrote in there admitting that he was a state agent. When I had been yelling for the last how many years that the state is a party to this case, you guys don't have jurisdiction. So I understand that it's atypical, okay? I understand that for the last however many years, this isn't how people have done things. And I think that that's okay, especially when the things that have been approached, the different strategies that people have taken are not really producing the outcome that people want. And so I don't think that now is the time to kind of get in line and do the same thing that we've been doing for the last 25 years. That's where this atypical, asymmetrical, different strategy comes into play. And that's what I'm here to present to the American people.
All right.
As far as 18 U.S.C. 241 and 242, I have confirmation from a federal agency that the way that we are presenting this is factual. And especially when it comes to to state agents, people that are acting under the color of law, that the state agents are under that federal authority. And you were right in what you said regarding kidnapping being a secondary offense too, but that first 18 USC 241 and 242, the first offense would be 242. The second offense would be the 241 if there are more than one people conspiring against your rights. And then in the event that kidnapping occurs, that would be the secondary offense to the first offense. So you are correct about that, but to say that it is not applicable to state agents would be factually incorrect.
Right.
Lastly, I do not charge, if you will, I don't charge anybody. I've never entered into an agreement with anyone to represent them in court, to look over their cases, to help them write motions. What I'm doing is collecting evidence, and we're using this evidence to expose the corruption at the county level, all the way up to even the federal courts and some of these judges that are in federal courts. So I'm not practicing law at all. I would love for someone to produce a receipt that says that I charged them for something and be able to tie it directly back to me, because unfortunately I do know that there are some scammers out there, but I've offered to have forensic evaluations, financial forensic investigators come in, look at all of my devices, go through everything, every nook and cranny, to literally separate myself from these scammers, because people are being scammed under my name and it's not me. So just be careful out there. If you get a message from someone that looks like me asking for money, it is not me. So, and that's all I have to say for now.
Mr. Davis, do you got anything to say at this point about what they're both saying there on that rules, on those rules 17 and 20?
Well, one more
Yes.
thing. One more thing.
Hold on, let Mr. Davis.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
Well, you're asking for his response to the Rule 1720. I wanted to fill in one thing. Rule 17 and Rule 20 has nothing to do with county council meetings. So she's not in accordance. So she's swatching out the words and saying she's in accordance. She's not. There's no such thing as being in accordance with Rule 17 and Rule 20 in a county council meeting. It's frivolous.
All we're doing is providing a notice.
Mr.
Okay, so
Davis.
we're providing the notice to the county commissioners, because county commissioners are extremely powerful body of legislatures that have the power to make some corrections in the local community. So it's not a court. I understand that we're not going into a court to present these as evidence to a judge. I understand that, but we need to make them aware. This is also part of the education process, even to the county commissioners and the city councilmen, that this is a big deal. These are issues that are happening in your local jurisdiction, and you guys have the power to correct some of it and apply pressure at the state legislative body. You guys have the power to do that, or stop funding CPS.
All right, let's hear what Mr. Davis has to say. Mr. Davis.
You both present very good with respect to the work that you do. It's hyper technical, and what I think that you guys both should do, continue do what you are doing, but add a component to your service or to the help you give people. And that component is start accumulating votes, accumulating people that you can call on to go to the ballot box and make real change. I've been doing this for over 35 years, 37 years, and I can tell you that sometimes when you get lost in the technicalities of the law, it's a trap. It's a trap that CPS sets and you fall into. Continue what you're doing, but get people together on a database in your state, in your county, in the country that can get together and vote. I don't know if you guys know this, but all of these laws in every state and county are based on federal regulations, not even federal laws passed by Congress. They're federal regulations passed by an administrative body that all the states have to comply with because of the federal money. Get your congressman or your congresswoman together and talk to them, lobby them for change. Here's one change that I would suggest. ICWA has some very stringent laws with respect to when you can take an Indian child away and what you have to prove to keep that child away. That shouldn't just be for American Indians, it should be for all American citizens. Give these people, these parents, the right to vote, excuse me, the right to have a jury trial,
Mhm.
right? Give them the right to, you know, leave out hearsay. I don't know about your state, and in my state, hearsay is admissible. That's an abomination to the evidence
Really?
codes. Yeah. Not
Wow.
only not only is hearsay admissible, but multiple hearsay is admissible. And the rule is if it's in the social worker report. But most trials that I do, judges tend to let in hearsay that's not even in the report.
Wow.
So you can only change that one way. It's not by marching. It's not by complaining. It's by getting people together and voting.
Thank you.
That's very good.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Davis.
That's the
All right.
very thing I've been saying for years myself. And every flipping time I bring it up, some Yahoo leaps up to tell me why I'm wrong and it won't matter and they don't care and anything they can do to shoot that down. And brother, you have said exactly what needs to be said. We need to vote in the people that are going to do the damn job the way we, the people, need it to be done. And if one more thing very quickly, and then I'll yield to you, Darren, to go back to subject matter that's relevant and that we're talking about. My initial, Lewis, when my initial impressions of when you were describing your grievances or your disagreements was a hint of venom, bro. It was more than just I disagree with what you're saying. You used the term grifter. That's a harsh accusation. And I don't know this woman. I literally just met her. But I'm not getting one little hint, the tiniest hint of grifter. So I would ask you to rein that in and ask yourself if that is in fact justified, because I don't really believe it is. Maybe you disagree with her and maybe she's doing something wrong. Okay, I don't know. But grifter is pretty harsh, bro. You're slamming at that
It's
point.
spot on. It's spot on correct. And
How
I'd like
so?
to explain it. Okay. I've made up when I get your email address, I've made up a list of 16 things that don't work. Now, I've been involved with the family law movement since 1999. Now, in 1999, I drafted a free CPS cannot search your house without a warrant flyer for all 50 states using all 50 states' constitutions and state statutes. I also wrote a free 18 U.S.C. 5033 invoke your child's right to remain silent flyer. These two flyers have caused dozens of children to be returned home. These flyers have caused dozens of children not to be even taken in the first place. Now, the list of things that I say that doesn't work: marches don't work, rallies don't work, protests don't work, with the exception of one unique case where Stu Peters did a shout out for baby Cyrus in Idaho, and that's it. Signing petitions don't work. Speaking at county councils is a complete waste of time. Now, what Mr. Vincent Davis said, the legislature, okay, voting works, okay, if you can get people to vote on the subject.
Dude,
Okay,
I'm sorry,
passing
but how
laws,
is she a grifter? You're not answering my question. How
Okay,
is she
okay,
a
got it.
grifter?
Got it. You go to a county council meeting and you speak and you ask for donations to get there to speak. At the end of the meeting, no child is returned home. What's next? Okay. When are we going to stop CPS? When are we going to get children home? And then they say, well, we want to go travel to the next county council meeting and we want more donations of money. Okay. Now they do a second county council meeting and speak, and they've posted it on Facebook, which is all about me, I, because these people are attention seekers. And so at the end of the second meeting, they got to speak. No children have been returned home. None, zero, zip, nada. What are we donating to?
You're just adding more accusations. These people are attention
No.
seekers. It's
No,
an
we're
accusation,
adding more facts.
characterization. You still
Can
haven't
I
shown me how
respond?
she's a grifter.
Yes, go ahead. You
Please
can-
Can I
do.
respond to some of this stuff?
Sure.
So first of all, it should be known that aside from having a LinkedIn account, I was completely off of social media since 2017, just after my son was born. That being said, I don't have this strange desire to have some type of social media or spotlight or whatever. As a matter of fact, if it was up to me, I would crawl back in a hole and close all my social media accounts down, and I would never be seen again. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Amen. I'm right there with you, Jessica. Believe me.
Yeah, I really am doing this because people need something to believe in. And I know I'm not saying to believe in me. What I'm trying to do is make them believe in themselves. The county commissioner meetings, historically for us, for me, what it started was when I did my first county commissioner speech or public comment. I walked out of there and I was like, wow, that was really powerful. And the next one, same thing. I feel strong. I feel powerful. And so with that, I said, you know what? Everybody needs to feel this. Everybody needs to be reminded that they are the authority, that they have the power to speak, that they have the First Amendment right to speak, to petition their government. We need to start healing the person. So initially, the reason why we started going to county commissioners and city council and teaching people, encouraging people, training people was an attempt to heal the individual. That was the reason for the county commissioner services. And what that did was it allowed individuals to go up into an arena that was very similarly laid out as your court. We have so many parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles that are in court pro se because the court and the system has taken everything from them. They cannot find anyone to represent themselves anymore. They don't have the money to pay for a good attorney. And so now they're left having to learn and going to speak and speak for themselves. I mean, going to court and speak for themselves. And so I said, you know what? This was powerful for me. Let's start extending this. And that's when we started encouraging people to go to their county commissioners. And we've seen nothing but a positive outcome from that. Now we're literally building a boots on the ground, citizen-led army that is nonviolent, that is not interested in doing any type of illegal acts, simply going before your county commissioner, reminding them that they are under oath, reminding them that we the people are the authority and we pay for them to act in our best interest, not in their best interest, reminding them that the laws of this country are there to protect the people from the government, not the government from the people. And in doing that, building the individual along the way. If you want a healthy country, you have to have a healthy individual. And so the psychological, emotional welfare of the individuals, that's really where this actually started. Now it turned into being something that we could point back to months later saying, hey, this county commissioners, they were made aware at this day and at this time. They received 250 affidavits stating crimes that the judges in that county, the sheriff's department in that county had committed against the citizens of that specific county. So it is on the record. We literally are putting this on the record so that they cannot deny that they were not aware. They were been made aware. What did they do about it? Nothing. Well, that's not our problem. You guys had a duty to report these crimes. You had a duty to make sure that this was not being funded and paid for to deprive these families and children of their rights secured by the Constitution. So as far as grifting, I have worked since I was 16 years old, and I have not ever not worked. I've never been on system government funds or anything like that. And I'm not saying that I'm not disparaging anyone who has. I'm not looking down on anyone who has. I'm just telling you what I have not. I have always worked, and I have a very high standard regarding my work ethic. And so to some degree, I'm frustrated that I even have to sit here and defend myself against this, but I self-funded this for as many months as I could. I self-funded over $10,000 myself, and I didn't realize that it was going to turn into this. I didn't set out trying to build a movement. That was the last thing on my mind. It literally was something that just happened over time until I'm like, wow, I can't self-fund anymore. I've donated all of my cash. Anything left that I had in retirement accounts or any type of funding, anything that I had left went to this. So to say that I'm grifting is it's malicious. And I feel this, I feel like in the end, after all of this, people are going to choose, really. This isn't going to be a coming together, unfortunately. People are going to choose, who's telling the truth, who's not, who's being malicious and who's not. And I'm okay with that. But I have to have a way to get around the country. Even right now, I looked this morning, I have like $213 to my name. If I was grifting, I would be asking for money every single time I ever got online. I never ask for money at these county commissioners, city council meeting. I only post videos asking for money when I'm down to my last, couple of nights or whatever. And even then, I still sleep in my car. Grifters don't do that. It's crazy.
Tiff,
The last thing is that for me, this is a ministry, and I follow my Lord and Savior is Jesus Christ. And if I am going to answer to anyone one day, it's going to be him. And if I have done something that was wrong, either with money or financially, I'm trying to, get some money from some people who don't have money in the end, then I know that I'm going to be held accountable for that. And that's not ever going to be the case. So anyway,
Tiff,
I'd like to
I can't
put a
remember
cap on
everything.
that.
hold on. Tiff's got something to say here. Tiff, go ahead.
You muted me.
Oh, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. My bad. You're unmuted now.
Now you're not muted. Now is your
Okay.
chance.
So I do disagree, and I'm going to tell you why I disagree with one part of Lewis, and I've talked to him about this. My little protege, I love her. My little Claire has spoken at all the town hall meetings. Okay, everybody that was involved in her case has quit, been fired, left the state. They're under investigation now. They shut a whole CPS department down here in Virginia because these people were coming to town hall, bringing receipts. This is what happened. This is what happened. I proved my point. So the town hall things, they do work. And
Okay.
Jessica, they're not putting them on notice like you are, but I'm telling you, they are very, very powerful.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
Tiff,
true. And we've had, if one more thing, just really fast. We have had reportedly, we've had over 10 judges that have recused themselves from individual cases after serving these notices. So that's one thing. We also have had state representatives that have reached out to us due to these services and asked what they can do. I'm not at liberty to say, but you're going to see some judges that are going to be on the docket for being impeached through the legislative branch. And that was a direct result of these services that we provided. And here's the thing, it's not all me. Many of these counties where we had all of the families show up, 70 plus families or individuals showed up in Beaufort County, North Carolina, Maricopa County, Arizona. There are a lot of families that showed up there. It's the families, it's the people that are coming together to really raise some noise. But you're going to see, I believe, very, very soon, one state that's going to have several judges put on at the legislative level to impeach these judges because of the evidence that we gathered. And that's all we're doing. We're gathering evidence, we're presenting it to the county commissioners and letting them say yay or nay, and holding them all accountable. So that's it. And I'm glad that you had success, Tiffany.
Mr. Davis.
Your little mini-me.
So we have someone that asked. They said you didn't answer this. Can you please go and I don't know if you were going to add something or you were going to explain the 17 and the 20.
Can you hear me?
Do you have anything to say on that? Like those two? Yes, sir. We can hear you. Do you have anything to say on the rule 17 and 20 and the way that it's used? Do you know what they're speaking about? Do you have anything that you can apply to that conversation? As far as like, is he right? Is Lewis right what he's saying? Is Jessica right what she's saying? Are they using these rules 17 and 20 as properly? Or are they out of context or someone misunderstanding? Do you have anything on that, Mr. Davis?
Yes, I can tell you that they are both using the rule in a way that advantages them. One of the things I've learned at the age of 6, 7 and practicing law for almost 40 years is that the law is not black and white. And it's the job of the advocate to use the rule to further their agenda or to further their arguments for their client. I can tell you one thing, that these two people would help more people if they worked together.
Mhm.
Now, the young lady said, I don't think that's ever going to happen. And I'd ask her to reconsider because you both have valid points and you both can help each other. And I know you've heard this before, 2 is better than 1.
Mhm. I
So
agree.
consider that. You guys are not enemies. We have an enemy. It's called CPS. Focus on that, not on each other. And by the way, as an attorney, I charge money. I saw a couple of my clients on this broadcast. You can ask them. So I don't have a problem asking for money if you're providing a service to someone. And young lady, if you don't get any money, you will dry up and you will blow away and you won't be able to help anyone. So you
I
better figure
I
out,
refuse.
you had better
So
figure.
I refuse to accept money, and the reason why is because there are some families who have more. There are some individuals who can help the cause, and there are some families that cannot. And so I'm not going to be part of this traditional system where pay to play. That is not for me. I am here to cause some type of a systemic change. I want to try to get this so that it's an even playing field across all of the states and all the counties for all the families. And so I'm not going to deprive one family from having the same type of services, if that's what you will, because they cannot pay. And so it's against
Well,
what God
you should.
it's against what God has charged me to do, honestly. And I am in a position
Okay.
where if I don't have the funding that I need, then that's maybe God's going to tell me to go back to Tennessee and get a job and be a contractor for the next, government or whatever. I'm just saying, I'm going to wait until I don't have the financial means anymore. And then that will be God telling me to move on. And that's it. So,
I disagree with you because
okay.
God's not going to tell you that. But if you think he's telling you that, that's between you and God. But you could help
Well,
a
then
lot
he'll
of
provide the
people.
funding.
Okay.
Mr. Davis, I feel like you ignored Darren's question. So I'd like to ask you some yes or no questions. Does Rule 17 say anything about making an appearance at a county council meeting, yes or no?
Not that I'm aware of.
Does Rule 20 say anything about making an appearance at a county council meeting, yes or no?
Not that I'm aware of.
Is Rule 17 a court rule, yes or no?
It depends on what state you're in.
Well, there are a few states that have a similar rule about naming the real party in interest, and they do use a different number. But the fact is, most states use Rule 17 to name the real party in interest, correct?
What set of rules are you referring to?
The civil rules. And you can look at the federal civil rules of procedure, Rule 17.
Okay, hold on a second. There is something called the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure.
Yes.
They apply primarily to cases in the U.S. District Court and the U.S. Court
Yes.
of Appeals.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
These two people have talked about going into the U.S. District Court. A county council meeting or a city meeting is not the U.S. District Court. By
There you go.
definition, if you look at, I think it's FRC, I think if you look at FRCP 1 or 2 or something like that, those rules only apply
Yes.
to the
100%.
U.S. District Court, apply elsewhere because they've been adopted by, maybe some tribe or something like that. But where I am in California, I'm licensed in California and DC. When you talk about the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, you're talking about going into the district court or the Federal Court of Claims. You're not talking about, county council,
Yes.
county
That's my
meetings.
point exactly. But that's
By
my
the
point
way,
exactly.
those
So
meetings have their those
you just made my
venues, by
point.
the way, have their own rules of procedure.
You just made my point. Federal Rule 17 applies to federal courts, and the state Rule 17 applies to state courts, correct?
Well, each state
Can you hear
has
me?
their
Hello?
own rules. Like
Yes.
the rules can you hear me? Okay, the
Yep, we're
rules in
there. We're there.
California state court are called the California Rules of Court. They are not the
Yes.
federal rules of civil procedure. They're similar, but they're not the same. So you have to, that's why I asked you, you said, do the rules apply? Well, what venue are you talking about?
Right. And that's
Right.
what we're
But
talking.
we're talking about a court as
If you go
opposed to a county council
if you,
meeting.
But why is she not allowed
which
to
court, a
talk about
state
that at a
court or
county
federal court?
council meeting? Your objection is she's bringing these things up at a council meeting, and I'm still waiting for why is that bad?
Because
I
it
didn't
doesn't
say it was
apply.
bad.
You're in the wrong venue. You're in the
I'm
wrong
not
bat
talking to
channel,
you,
the
Mr.
wrong
David.
bat
I'm
time.
talking to Louis Ewing. He is very apparently really unhappy with the fact that she's doing this. I'm still waiting for why is it bad? Why you said it doesn't apply. If it gets her traction, if it gets results, why wouldn't she use it?
See, you just proved my point. It's not getting any results of any children returned home. Zero.
That's not a scientific statement. Again, why wouldn't she use it? You're saying no kids get returned home as a direct result of her using that in a county council meeting. That doesn't mean it's not a good thing to do, or that she's not wise to do it, or that it's not somehow gaining a traction or a positive effect. And you still haven't proven your accusations, your very harsh accusations of grifting and self-serving. Show me the evidence.
Okay, show me the evidence of a child that's been returned home.
That's not an answer to my question.
All right. So,
You're deflecting.
Mr. Davis,
You just deflected, dude.
don't
No,
you
because you're trying to change my question.
I asked a direct. Okay, I'm done.
you ain't.
You've answered my questions. Thank you. No
Mr.
evidence of grifting. No evidence of being self-serving.
Mr. Davis.
Look at this. The parents are poor, they're low income, and they don't want to waste money contributing to something that's not going to get children home. They don't want to get ripped off. All the parents feel that way.
Mr.
Well,
Davis. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes,
no, that's okay.
Darren.
I don't
Go
think
ahead,
it's
Darren.
fair to say that. Oh,
So
sorry.
what the question is this: if Jessica is going into the town council meetings, is she saying there that she's saying on? I don't want to misquote her. You're saying there as can you repeat it, Jessica? On accordance with the
In
Supreme
accordance.
right?
Yes.
Is she using those statutes? Is she misusing those statutes in the court to the town council with addressing her with whatever when they're putting these people on notice?
Are
The
you
purpose
asking
of
me?
Rule 17 is you're asking the court to name the real party in interest. That's the only purpose of Rule 17. You're asking the court to name the real party in interest. That's all it is.
But she said, she's making them aware that they can do something about this, and then explaining this, that they are part of this problem, right? So, Mr. Davis, I ask you, when she goes in and says she's doing this in accordance with what Rule 17 and Rule 20 are, yada, 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 I don't know them, is she misspeaking to people by quoting that?
The answer is no, not really.
Okay.
At the
All right.
beginning, a few moments ago, I told you it's her job to use anything that she can to further her interests or her client's interests. Now, the person on the other side could stand up and say, hey, folks, this lady's quoting rules that don't apply to this venue. These are just arguments.
But it's a fact.
Well, you see, facts are a perception of the receiver. You can use authority like Rule 17 anywhere if it becomes persuasive in the mind of the listener.
Thank you. Well said. Perfectly said. You use what works. You use what's effective.
Correct.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I've been on Vincent Davis' show. It's been a long time. I don't know if you remember Mr. Davis. I used to come on with Amanda all the time. And at that
Oh,
time,
yeah, I do remember you.
right. I didn't say a lot, but I've been doing this for as long as you. And I got to tell you, I do what works for me and my parents. And I've said it on here multiple times, and people still contact me and say, oh my God, what do I do? Now, I'm not in the courtroom every day because, of course, I own a business, so I have to work. The absolute best advice that I can give people, and the absolute 82% of the time that works without a lawyer, is you find somebody to go behind CPS's back, and I do this all the time, and it works 82% of the time all across this country because I advocate on the Constitution, is get somebody to go down and file a motion to intervene and an emergency custody hearing. That is how I get kids out of foster care. No attorney, no nothing. I find somebody to do it. They get if they are put in foster care on Friday, they're out by Monday, and the following week, the emergency custody hearing has already been decided. The magic is you got to beat them to the courthouse. The first one to the courthouse wins. Not only that, no child, no CPS case. The case is closed. That is how we win. But, Jessica, you do what works for you. Because I'm telling you, and we play these all the time. My little mini me goes to these town hall meetings. She says names, she has dates, she has proof, and this woman is whooping asses over here. Praise God.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Another point I wanted to raise too, that Jessica keeps talking about non-existent emolument violations, and I'm going to warn everybody: if you raise frivolous arguments in court, sovereign citizen arguments in court, the judge will stop that person from speaking, and they will force counsel on them. They're going to lose their right to represent themselves pro se. And here's another thing: I want you guys to look up this lady's name, Neely Blanchard. She followed the advice of a sovereign citizen who invented the E-clause. The emolument clause argument was a guy named Christopher Hallett. She got inside information that Christopher Hallett was working with CPS to help steal people's children. She shot and murdered Christopher Hallett right in the face. And Neely Blanchard right now is serving life in prison because she killed a sovereign citizen. And that's 100% his fault. Okay, so if you're teaching people frivolous arguments, you're the cause of them to lose their children. As far as I'm concerned, Christopher Hallett deserves to die. And so does anybody else who teaches wrong arguments.
That's, again, pretty strong language, Louis. But just to clear the
believe in
record,
it, 100%.
I do not present myself as a sovereign citizen. I was actually interrogated and detained by Homeland Security back in July for someone falsely making an accusation against me, threatening a judge. And when I was detained, that was one of the questions that they asked me. And I thankfully, I had all of my evidence for court there. So I was actually able to show the Homeland Security officer who was asking me all of these questions, the evidence that I had against the judges, the guardian ad litem, the attorneys, the clerk of court, all of these things. And it was funny how that was flipped, because by the time I finished with my interrogation, he was referring me to go directly to the FBI that evening based off of all of the evidence that I had there, because I was prepared for court. But he asked me specifically, do you classify yourself to be a sovereign citizen? And I said, no. Why would you say that? And he said that that was one of the things that was put through the allegation on their tip line, that I was pretending to be a sovereign, or I was a sovereign citizen. And the answer to that is no. I don't subscribe at all to the sovereign citizen ideology for several reasons. One, I do think that it's a psyop. For all of you guys out there, it falls right in line with every other psyop that the United States, through CIA, through DARPA, through whatever else, has already done to the United States, citizens of America. And so you got to start looking at it. This whole sovereign citizenship movement, it is a psyop against you. That's the number one reason why I am out on the whole sovereign stuff. What I am trying to do is bring the to a state in America where everybody has the rights that are secured in this document, in this foundational document, so that when we walk into court, we actually have a right to a jury trial. Doesn't matter what court it is, we have a right to a jury trial. That our children cannot be removed without due process of law. That anytime our property is taken for public use, that we are compensated. Just compensation under the 4th Amendment. Or maybe that's the 5th. I can't remember. Anyway, I'm just saying there's a difference between this sovereign citizen ideology and what I'm doing. And what I'm doing is simply trying to make it so that all of the laws of America apply equally, that we don't have a two-tiered system of justice here, that the judges can commit crimes against us, attorneys can commit crimes, CPS can commit crimes against our families, and we have no remedy. No, that's not appropriate in our society. Another thing is that judges cannot create law. They should not be allowed to create law. Contempt of court is the most asinine thing I have ever heard of in my life, because we don't have the ability to question our accuser when we're held in contempt of court. They haul us off, and many states, you don't have a bond. You know, that's crazy, right? So everything that I'm doing is constitutionally focused. And if people want to say that it's sovereign citizen, I'm just going to say that no, it's not, because I'm not going to be part of another PSYOP that is played against the American citizens.
So Jessica, hold on. You just came up with a great comment right there, and I want to shift us around a little bit, because we're going to just beat a dead horse here. Remedies. Let's talk about remedies. How do you see CPS? How do you see what you're doing, and how does it relate to leading your movement to the end game? Like, where do you see the movement going with how you're taking the movement down the line? And you too, Lewis, I don't know which one of you want to go first on this, but you guys are taking a group of people down the line. Where do you plan on this thing coming to a halt, or how do you plan on it getting there? Do you want to start with that, Jess, or do you want to start with
Yes, yes, please. So
yeah,
I'll be honest in that I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't exactly know where this is going to go. I do know the things that I can definitively say that have happened because of the actions that we have taken. And when I say we, it's a lot of people that are working together by the scenes. We have an amazing team with Justice Without Limits. I mean, I might be the person that you guys see the most, but we have a lot of people that are working behind the scenes to make all this stuff happen. To date, we've had over 10 judges that have recused themselves. We actually did have one father who he went from 0 visits with his daughter to supervised visitation, and now he's getting ready to have his final hearing to receive his daughter. And that was within the timing of when he served the affidavits versus when they said, okay, you know, you can have supervision. So there's one. I know to many that may not seem like a lot, but it's important to understand that these things are really happening. The other thing is that we have 3 judges and 1 magistrate under investigation in Tennessee with the Tennessee Supreme Court Judicial Board of Conduct. That is a direct result of the things that we've been doing. And there's many more of those to come. Now, what I'm foreseeing in the future, what I hope will happen in the future, is that we hold the judicial branch accountable. Because at the end of all this, I understand some people are after CPS, some people are going after the bar, some people are, you know, approaching the legislative branch, and all of that's good. I am not going to say not to do those things just because it doesn't fall in line with my strategy. My strategy is the judges. My strategy is that we get these judges under investigation and we start slowly impeaching them, or we have them criminally prosecuted through grand jury indictments, which I understand people are like, well, that's a far-fetched. That's never going to happen. I'm going to disagree with that because it already has happened. It's called Operation Greylord. And as a matter of fact, we are literally 2 days shy of the 42nd anniversary of Operation Greylord in Cook County, Illinois. If you're not familiar with that, you should look it up. But that was where the FBI came in and arrested judges and attorneys and the sheriff's department and police officers and all of these people that were involved in a racketeering scheme against the people of Cook County. I think that that's going to happen again, but it's only going to happen if people are able to consolidate their evidence, get these judges under investigation, be able to go to the FBI or the DOJ and present a case, literally a case that will give them the power to be able to investigate. A lot of people, and I didn't realize this either, filling out the form on the IC3.gov or whatever it is for the FBI, filling that out and expecting something to happen is a far-fetched. I mean, you almost need to say an alien landed in my backyard in order to get a response. And that's unfortunate, but it's the truth. And so with these dossiers that we're filing, the dossiers are literally styled like a presidential dossier, and they take a long time to create, but I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to teach people, other people how to do it. As a matter of fact, we have teams that are now ready to operate in that manner to where they're putting together these judicial dossiers. When I say a dossier, I'm talking about 2 reams of paper worth of evidence that is sitting compiled in a palatable manner so that the Supreme Court of Tennessee can look through that and say, wow, yeah, that mom did strangle that kid, and Judge Harrington let the strangler have the kid. That type of stuff. So that's what we're doing right now. I think I might have got off track. Did I answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, you definitely.
Yeah.
Did.
So the end result. So the end result for me is to hold these judges accountable, because at the end of the day, it's their duty to weed through all of the BS. It is their duty to make sure that if someone is bringing something to the court that is hearsay or that cannot be factually proven, it's the judge's duty to see through all that. It's the judge's duty to make sure that the record is accountable, that the record is complete. It's the judge's duty to call out perjury when perjury is called out. It's the judge's duty, and they're not doing it. So really, that end game is for the judges, and we need to have judicial accountability across this country, maybe all the way up to the Supreme Court. But something's got to change.
Well said.
And that's what I'm going.
Can I interject very quickly here on Operation Greylord? I just looked this up because you were talking about it. So for those who are interested, Operation Greylord, FBI undercover sting that smashed systemic bribery in Chicago's Cook County court system in the 1980s. Target rampant case fixing in the largest court system in the U.S. Traffic tickets, criminal cases, even murder trials. Judges, lawyers, cops, clerks, and sheriffs were taking cash bribes to dismiss charges or sway rulings. Undercover phase ran for 3 years and 8 months. Trials and prosecutions then stretched another 10 years. And yeah, definitely, it says star of the show, Terrence Hake, a young Cook County prosecutor, volunteered to go undercover for nearly 4 years. He posed as a corrupt prosecutor and later a defense attorney, accepted bribes, passed cash to crooked officials, and secretly recorded everything. He later co-wrote the book Operation Greylord, the true story of an untrained undercover agent and America's biggest corruption bust. I'm done.
Let me talk about that, Darren.
Yes, sir.
Operation Greylord is my fucking project. Jessica Saxton is trying to steal my project. Louis Ewing, Operation Greylord CPS groups. Literally, the day after they and her group of people got my Facebook disabled, Jessica Saxton announced in a Zoom meeting that she's going to do Operation Greylord 2.0. Now, everything you heard Jessica Saxton say, I got one question for all of it. All the things you said about what we're going to do, what we're going to do, and what you're doing and what your group's doing. Can you give us a single court case that you've ever won, that you wrote a motion or a brief for where the judge granted your motion and you won the case? This is my point, folks. You can't follow somebody who has never won a case. Okay? In 2004, I beat the largest multiple felony count prosecution for manufacturing marijuana in the entire United States. I'm the lawyer who beat the largest aerospace corporation in the world, and I forced Boeing to publicly announce they were no longer going to enforce the Joe Biden vaccine mandates. Operation Greylord is my project. She's not capable of doing it. She's not qualified to do it. She doesn't have the legal knowledge or the legal skills to pull it off. In fact, about a week or two ago, Jessica Saxton committed a felony crime on Facebook, recorded a fake 911 call, which under state law is a misdemeanor, but under federal law, it's a federal offense to make a false report of kidnapping to the FBI and a criminal complaint line. If they took a look at that, they might charge her, except for the fact she's a woman. Woman seems to get off on this kind of stuff. But she doesn't have the legal skills to do Operation Greylord. Only a high-level prosecutor or a highly experienced criminal lawyer could do Operation Greylord, period.
She didn't claim credit for it, Louis.
No, but she's trying to take it over.
She's not trying to take it over. She just was referencing it, dude. What the?
I will. No. Tiff, what do you got?
I know what he's referring to regarding the FBI report. And that was a case that I had looked over and collected all of the evidence in that mother's case. It was baby Cairo. And I could not pinpoint one legal reason as to why CPS came in and removed that child and put them into foster care. Not one. And so that FBI report is 100% truthful. And as a matter of fact, I should probably call the FBI again and follow up with that. So that wasn't a felony. That was me operating within our duty. We have rights and responsibilities. We also have duties. And it's our duty to stand for those who cannot stand for themselves. And at the time, Chantel, the mother, she was not mentally able to make that phone call. She just wasn't. Her newborn child had just been taken from her from the hospital. And so that's what I did. And we had other people. We had many other people that called the FBI and reported that we have state kidnapping that's happening. And, you know, Louis, I listened to the things that you're saying, and it's unfortunate that you're attacking me in the manner that you are, because even if you disagree with some of the things that I'm doing, that still does not negate the fact that there are people who need someone to call, even make this simple phone call to call the FBI for them on their behalf, to organize, to try to make it so that, you know, just like in Cook County, we were actually in Cook County yesterday, and I brought this up, and we had, I don't know, maybe 15 individuals that came out, and they were all like, thank you so much. I did not know that there were this many families in Cook County, and we all showed up at the county commissioner meeting, and most of them spoke. Some of them did not, but most of them did. And just with that, you know, I use the platform that I have. I use it for the benefit of everyone as much as possible, and including bringing people together. You know, did you guys have something else that you wanted to say? Because Louis has asked a bunch of questions, but I actually have some questions that I would like to ask him and have him respond to.
Oh, go right ahead. Go ahead. Go for it.
So, Louis,
I would love to hear these.
I pulled up your consulting contract, and it says here that it is non-refundable consulting fee schedule for those who want more information, but before they spend any money for your non-refundable consulting fees. Now, it looks like here that your non-refundable consulting fee is $1,000. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. Let me explain my consulting fee, folks. The chief attorneys in my area, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Utah, North and South Dakota, Colorado, Montana, they charge $5,000 to $10,000 as a retainer. You get nothing, no paperwork for the retainer. I charge a $3,750 consulting fee. Now, the only thing my consulting fee has in common with an attorney's retainer, yes, you don't get any paperwork. What you're paying for is 25 to 30 plus years of legal knowledge. Now, the attorneys, they pocket that $5,000 to $10,000 without even looking at your case. I have the potential client send me a copy of their entire court case file, and I have them write their own statement of the case from A to Z, whatever the problem is in their case. Doesn't matter what kind of case it is. I do mostly criminal cases. Now, I also have them read the police reports, and if there's CPS involved, they have them read the CPS reports. If there's guardian ad litem involved, they have them read the guardian ad litem reports. Before they send me their file, I want them to write their rebuttal of the police reports. If the cops lied about anything, tell me what the lie is, names of witnesses, how you can prove it. Number two, if the cops, social workers, or guardian ad litems left anything out or omitted anything, you tell me what they left out, what they omitted. Or number three, if the cops or social workers or guardian ad litems put anything out of chronological or numerical order of how things happen 1 through 10, I want you to rearrange it 1 through 10. This is what I tell every potential client before they send me money. I send people that consulting fee notice in advance before I get any money out of anybody. So there's full disclosure, which I give that the attorneys don't give about the retainer. Now, to my consulting fee notice, I attach a flyer called Attorney's Retainer. Now, many years ago, I was walking in downtown Seattle, and I decided to pay a visit to the Washington State Bar Association headquarters, and they had a stack of newspapers on the counter, and asked the secretary, can I take these home? And she said, sure. I couldn't believe what I was reading that night. Okay. They had a case in there from California.
Question. God damn it.
You know what, Derek? Tell that guy to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Dana.
There's something wrong with him. He's one of them. He's one of those sovereign citizen types. I could tell right off the bat. You say it to my face, dude. You get your teeth knocked out. Say it to my face.
Bring it, ass.
Yeah. Bring it.
All right.
My address is 4731 State Route 109, Mo Clips. Bring it.
Okay, stop. If we can't play nice in the sandbox, we all got to stop.
You wouldn't last 30 seconds with me, punk.
All right.
I don't advocate for violence. Just so everybody knows, I don't advocate for violence.
Stop.
I didn't see that one coming. Anyway,
I didn't
Hey,
either.
dude's got a mouth.
question.
I'm explaining the law, and he's being a jerk.
No, you're absolutely right. He's not acting the way he should.
No, I'm talking about the law. So I was reading this article in the newspaper and asked the secretary, how many attorneys are there in the state bar? And she said 30,000. When I went home, I couldn't believe what I was reading this night. From California, the state Vincent Davis is in. This case says an attorney's retainer is considered a gift, a donation. This case says the attorney's retainer is considered earned at the time you gave the money, regardless of the fact the attorney has not performed any services for you. Like, what a scam this is. And then the final kicker on the case, this California case, says that the only thing the attorney is obligated to do is to give you a return phone call. So I've actually been on talk radio shows making fun of this and saying, folks, don't worry about me not calling you back. I'll be calling you back 2-3 times a week to send me more money because you're a sucker if you pay an attorney a retainer, because it's an absolute ripoff. They don't even look at your case. Now, when you pay me a consulting fee, because I want Jessica to know what people are getting, because that's what she's hinting to about how much it is and what did they get. Okay, so I read their whole case file. I take a yellow highlighter pen and I highlight every statute, court rule, and case law cited in the paperwork. I highlight dates that are important for jurisdictional or speedy trial purposes. Then I go on to the government website and I download, save down, and print out a copy of whatever statute they're using against them. And then I hop in my car and I drive 2.5 hours one way to the law library in Olympia, Washington, my state Supreme Court capital. I got to pay $2 an hour parking, 15 cents a page a copy. Now, all these notebooks that you see in the background behind me, all of those 3-ring binders I filled by hand, 1 page at a time, photocopying case law. This is something no attorney does. I do preliminary research on every case before I take a case, and that way I can give the client a realistic estimation. I'll call them up 2 to 3 weeks later and say, this is where you're at realistically. This is a realistic percentage of chance you have of getting a positive result. I'll tell you the client what their options are, if any, and then I'll give them my battle plan, strategy, or plan of action. And then and only then can I give them an estimate of how much or how little I want to charge them. And it's a lot more fair this way. Or do you want to pay the attorney 5 to 10 grand retainer, and then you call him up a couple weeks later and say, hey, what's going on? And he's going to say, well, if you want me to go to trial, I want another 5 to 10 grand. You don't know what they've done. They've never looked at your case. They just throw out big numbers hoping that you're dumb enough to pay it. But the fact is, I make my living undercutting attorneys. And some people say, well, Lewis, you charge thousands or almost as much an attorney. And I tell everybody, yes, this is true, but it's not fair to compare just the money because judges do not like pro se litigants. I have to do 4 to 5 to 10 times the amount of paperwork that any attorney does to barely get the same stroke. But this is why I am winning 90 to 95% of my cases at trial or pre-trial. The court system hates me because I stand up against the bar. Right now, all you people, your choice is to hire an attorney as a member of the bar, accept the public defender as a member of the bar, defend yourself if you know how to, which most people don't, or hire me. Now, I put my ass on the line doing this shit. Why is there only one Louis Ewing versus 30,000 bar members? I'll tell you why. Why is nobody else doing what I'm doing? Whenever the State Bar Act is caught up to somebody who's trying to do what I do, they make them sign a cease and desist order promising to cease and desist doing all work of illegal nature whatsoever under the threat that they would be prosecuted for unauthorized practice of law or practicing law without license, and they go out of business. We don't, you people out there, you don't have an alternative. You have no choice but to hire a bar member. I am a threat to all 50 state bar associations. I've actually been threatened by more than 20 assistant attorney generals from 20 plus different states that want to prosecute me for helping the people.
Louis, what is your bar number?
I haven't memorized it, but I've posted it on my Facebook before. Let me look that up. But right now, my dues have lapsed, so it's not going to make any difference. It's not going to show. But next week when I pay it, it's going to go right back up or they'll assign me a new number.
And are you barred with the state?
No.
Or
No, okay. Here's the thing. Here's you can look this up. Here's what allows me to practice. 2.48180 is the unauthorized practice of law statute. Okay, in Washington, subsection 7 of 2.48180 specifically says, if other statutes, business rules, or regulations allows me to practice law, it's an affirmative defense to the charge of unauthorized practice of law. I out-debated Judge Dale Rammerman in 2004, the chief presiding judge of the King County Superior Courts, who traveled from downtown Seattle to Kent, Washington, to the Kent Regional Justice Center. Okay, he made the main presiding judge of that court, Terry Lucan, set aside because he had a plan to arrest me. They had no less than 5 sheriffs in the back of the courtroom that wanted to arrest me. This is no shit. The judge, when I walk up through the middle of those pews of the Church of Satan in that kangaroo court and went through those swinging doors into the marsupial star chamber, there's 3 sheriffs on my left. There's 2 sheriffs on my right in the back of the courtroom clinking their handcuffs. The very first thing Mr. Rammerman said to me was, Mr. Ewing, if you attempt to represent your client in my courtroom, I'm going to have you arrested for unauthorized practice of law. My response to Mr. Rammerman was, well, sir, if you want to be on the front page of the Seattle Times, the Seattle PI, and the Tacoma News Tribune, and you probably make it on Channel 4, 5, and 7 News, that you had me arrested for violating a statute you've never read.
Shut this fucking idiot up.
I think his mama dropped him on his head when he was a baby.
I don't know what happened to him, but
maybe his mother had sex with her brother, because the guy's dumb.
I don't know. I put him out for a minute. I don't know.
Okay, so here's what happened. Dale Rammerman, the senior judge, at that time he was one of the oldest judges in the state of Washington, considered among the wisest, Dale Rammerman. And he says, Mr. Ewing, the state bar act says you can't practice law unless you're an attorney as a member of the bar. And I said, well, apparently, sir, you've never read the State Bar Act. I said, do you have those green books behind you? Could you pull out RCW Title II and open it up to 2.48180? And he did, right there in open court. And I said, now read subsection 7. Now, I quoted it exactly what it says. I said, Your Honor, also 2.48170, the statute before the unauthorized practice of law statute. It says, if I'm a member in good standing of any other state or jurisdiction, I shall be entitled to practice law in all the courts of the state. Now go to 2.48190, the statute passed the unauthorized practice of law statute. Now, keep in mind, they amended the statute because of me. It used to use the word automatic reciprocity, which they took out. But that statute, 2.48190, says that I can practice law without admission by the state Supreme Court. That's right, without admission to the state Supreme Court, if I can show that a Washington state bar attorney can practice law in my courtroom. I said, Your Honor, the very second that I was authorized to practice law in the Muckleshoot Tribal Court, the Tulalip Tribal Court, the Lummi Tribal Court, the Appellate Tribal Court, okay, I was automatically grandfathered in to practice law in all the courts of the state of Washington. Oh, by the way, Your Honor, Carolyn Dimmick, who's a state Superior Court judge and a federal judge, she authorized me to practice law, and she signed my oath of admission. He's Mr. Ewing. Mr. Ewing, you may proceed. And he allowed me to represent my client. And then when we were done, I thanked him for authorizing me to practice law in the state court. And he goes, that's not what I did, Mr. Ewing. And he goes, well, Your Honor, let me read you this case. And I had a case with me in hand. I don't remember the name of it right now. I got too many cases in my head. But there's a case in Washington State in the 1930s that specifically says when a judge in a court of general jurisdiction, a judge in a court of appellate jurisdiction, the highest court of a state, the highest court of a foreign jurisdiction, a United States District Federal Court, or even the U.S. Supreme Court, when a judge allows somebody to represent somebody else in his or her court, that person just became authorized to practice law under the common law rule the same way former President Abraham Lincoln did. And that's the way it was done prior to the 1930s, before law schools even existed. And let me tell you something. The judges across the state of Washington and across the United States, they're pissed off that somebody found the loophole to practice law. No, I'm not going to teach it to anybody, period. There's too many of these sovereign citizens.
Wait a second, Mr. Ewing. Why wouldn't you want to teach that knowledge? If you have knowledge that would empower the people, why would you want to keep that to yourself?
They can go study it themselves. People say, well, Mr. Ewing, you don't want competition. I said, you're not competition. If you knew the law, you could go to your law library and you could, study it yourself.
I get it. that you might not want competition or whatever.
No, it's not competition.
I am not accusing you of that. My
I've
question
had other people accuse me of that, so I'm setting the record straight.
Yeah,
Why? Because I don't want them going.
I'm not accusing you of that. My question is, why would you not? If you have knowledge that is so powerful like that, and we have competent people that are able to represent themselves and others, why would you want to keep that to yourself and not empower the people in that way?
Because you're not competent to represent other people. That's why.
Whoa,
I'm not.
whoa,
You know what? I won't. How about this? I'll put it right here that if you share this information with other competent people, because I'll admit that I'm not competent, according to you. I'm not competent. I'll give you my public word that I will not use whatever information that you're giving to go and represent other people. But there are other people that could do that. There's former attorneys that have been disbarred. Connie Regula, for instance, she could use that information and maybe she could go help some families. There's Scott Tyndall. He was disbarred for filing a RICO case in Birmingham, Alabama. If there's a way that some of these attorneys who are really decent attorneys, if they could go and do this and use this to help other people.
You want to know why I would never help you want to know why I would never help Connie Regula in a fucking million years?
Sure.
She used to work as a district attorney for Bill Clinton. She was part of the crew that drafted the 1997 Adoption for Safe Families Act. She's part of the crew that drafted the whole family
Let's
court.
take Connie out of it. Fine. So we're not going to empower Connie Regula anyway. What about Scott Tyndall? What about some of these other attorneys? What about just people in general? Why would you keep knowledge that is so powerful to help abolish CPS, help get these children back out of abusive situations where they're being, molested and raped and sodomized every night? Why wouldn't you help empower those people to help save these children?
I'm not going to open the door to a bunch of sovereign citizens to hang up a shingle to pretend to be a lawyer so they can go rip off your mother and brother and sister and falsely claim that they're a competent lawyer when they're not.
So are you a sovereign citizen?
No. And let me tell you what a sovereign citizen is. My definition of a sovereign citizen is the same as the police officers, the prosecutors, and the judges. A sovereign citizen, in my opinion, is a dumb fuck who thinks he knows the law. He's a fucking know-it-all. And when you see people online having trouble, they're the first one to answer them questions, and they give them a bunch of ridiculous advice like declare your status, perfect your status, don't spell your name in capital letters, the goldfinch flag. They give them a bunch of hokey arguments. And when I call these people out on the carpet and ask them, are you a sovereign citizen? The first thing they say to me is something really cute to prove how smart they are. And they tell me, well, Mr. Ewing, you can't be a sovereign and a citizen at the same time. That's an oxymoron. And I'm like, you just proved that you're a sovereign citizen. Okay, because guess what? You can't be a sovereign in this country because we don't own any land. The minute you stop paying property taxes, the government will come remove you from the land because it doesn't belong to you because you're not sovereign. Number two, we don't have any money that's backed by gold and silver. Okay, now number three, all the sovereigns say the United States is a corporation, and they like to say 18 U.S.C. 3002, subsection 16, and they say United States is a corporation. Well, Mr. Sovereign Citizen, you just said sovereign citizen is an oxymoron. You can't be both. You have to be one or the other, but you can't be both. I say you can be neither. Okay? So when they're saying you can be one or the other, that person just proved they're a fucking moron because you can't be a citizen of Kentucky Fried Chicken, Baskin Robbins, Popeyes, Safeway. So you can't be a citizen of the United States because it's a corporation. So guess what? That whole stuff about you, it's an oxymoron. You have to be one or the other, but not both. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just spouting off a bunch of nonsense. A sovereign citizen is a dumbass who thinks he knows it all. And I ask everybody, show me a case that you've ever won. You're giving somebody advice. You have no business. I tell everybody, you have no business giving somebody else advice unless you can show proof that you've won that argument for yourself.
And Lewis, nobody's trying to take credit from the cases that you've won. I think that's where a little bit of this disconnect is coming from. We're not trying to take credit from you. People have done certain things and taken certain strategies and avenues that are different from other people, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are wrong in that specific strategy. So if you've had wins and you've been able to help other people, that's amazing. I mean, it's honestly, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. There's a couple more questions. So regarding your contract, and I know we got off here, but your consulting contract, it says that for large files, add $1,000 for each ream of paper. That's 50 cents a page. So
I've
So
had people.
someone was going to pay
Hold
you
on.
$3,000, which was different. So I quoted that you had $1,000 for consulting fee. You said, no, that's wrong, that it's actually $3,000 consulting fee. And now they have to
3,000.
add $1,000 for each ream of paper. Can you explain that?
Okay, $3,750, $37.50. You're paying for 25, 30 plus years of legal knowledge first, whether it's 0 pages or 1 page. That covers up to the first 250 pages. Now, here's the problem. Okay, people agree to that. They send me the consulting fee. And next thing you know, I got 6 or 10 Baker boxes on my front porch. And I'm like, oh, no, I didn't agree to that. So I've set a rule. If they have more than 250 pages, I charge $1,000 per ream, which is every 500 pages for anything beyond the first 250 pages. And you know what? That's dirt dog cheap, because no attorney, no law firm is going to look at a ream for $1,000. No way. Not going to happen.
So like my case, I mean, my case is, I think I paid 300. So my case is a little over 1,000 pages. So that would be 2 reams of paper. So I would have, so in addition to the $37.50, I would also have to pay $2,000 for
If
both of
there's-
those
if
reams
there-
of
if
paper.
there's- If
So
there's
now
a
you're
second,
entering into, I'm sorry, so really quick. So now you're entering into, and you said before that, you know, attorneys in your local area would charge anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 for a retainer. Now we're approaching $5,750 just for you to be able to look over my case. And it sounds like, according to this, that you don't actually represent people. According to your consulting fee, you don't actually represent people. They must be willing and competent to represent themselves. You
No.
just help them with the
No,
strategy
they don't
to
have to be.
represent. Is that correct?
No, they don't have to be competent. Here's what I do. It's completely different than everybody else. Over the last 25 to 30 plus years, I've taken the best elements of an attorney and the best elements of a paralegal. I've combined them both and created a system and style of legal writing and presentation. An attorney couldn't do what I do. A paralegal can't do what I do. And so people who want to represent themselves, but they don't have the legal knowledge, they don't know how to do the legal research, they don't know how to do the legal writing, and they don't know how to present a case. I simplify all that. They don't have to be competent, because I get people that are dumb. Okay, I'll just straight up say it. I can send any dummy into court. And I'm not saying you're a dummy or all these other people are dummies, but I'm sending lay people into court. I got truck drivers, carpet layers, roofers, grocery clerks, real estate agents. I've even had university professors hire me to do my legal help. And I concentrate on writing a lot more. I do a lot more research and a lot better brief writing than any attorney out there. Judges are freaking out when somebody comes into their courtroom with one of my briefs filed. Okay, nobody wants to do the work that I'm doing here. I'll have no problem explaining to everybody, the whole world, the secret to my brief writing, because nobody wants to do the fucking work. Okay, for example, if I read 50 to 100 cases, I'll narrow it down to like the top half a dozen appellate cases, or just say 5, the top 5 appellate cases, the top 5 Supreme Court decision cases. Okay. Then I'm going to call up the client and say, I want you to purchase me copies of the whole court file. Okay. For these top 5 appellate cases. Now that could cost $50 to $100 to $200 or even $300 per case file. But keep in mind, somebody else paid $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to get to the Court of Appeals of their state Supreme Court. And I'm getting their briefs for $200, $300. I'll also say, I want to order the complete court case file for the state Supreme Court of their state. Okay. So then what I do, out of those top 10 briefs, I'll pick the number 1 best Supreme Court decision, and I'll take the published decision. This is the secret to my brief writing. Nobody wants to do it because A, it costs a lot of money for photocopying and printing, and B, it takes so much time to read all this stuff. Nobody wants to do all the reading. It takes too much for most people. So I'll highlight the most important quotes out of the published decision. Now, published decision might only be 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. This is where most pro se litigants lose their cases. Well, I cited this case and that case, and the judge denied my motion, and the judge is corrupt. No. The published decision is a pretty little story. The judges say, we're here to protect your rights, and these bad police officers, they violated your rights, so we're going to rule in the citizen's favor. State versus Ladson, best pretextual stop in the case of the state of Washington. Now, you order a copy of the court files, you're going to find 100, 150, 200 pages of briefing. And when you read that, you're going to see a whole bunch of cases and arguments that aren't in the published decision. Now you're going to go, oh, this is the real reason why the case won, and this is why I lost, because I only cited the quotes out of the published decision. Most people are too lazy. They're too cheap to do photocopying of the cases. I spend thousands and thousands of hours. Okay. Look at all these 3-ring binders behind me. If you could see, I don't know which camera we got here. Darren, you got a camera on my room?
Let's see if I do or not. Hold on a minute here. You do,
Okay,
yeah.
Louis, you obviously have a lot. It sounds like that you have a lot to offer to individuals and people. I'm reading your contract here, and what it says is that I do not guarantee any results in court, period. The only guarantee that I will give you is that I will get 100% of your money before you get any motions to dismiss, and I do not care if your trial is this week and your money is coming in next week.
That's right, because I've had lots of people rip me off.
Okay.
All right.
And that's okay. I mean, and I understand that people have in America, thank God that we are free to charge for something, you know, if we're going to provide an honest service.
A lot of people respect me.
So my question is, how do you justify calling me a grifter for wanting to fight on behalf of everyone, not making the distinguishing fact of this person can pay versus this person cannot, when I believe that everybody that has not abused their children, they should have a right to their children, and getting those children back is paramount to my strategy. But yet at the same time, you're calling me a grifter while charging people really what an attorney actually charges, and guaranteeing them, you know, no results, and they actually still are representing themselves. You're not representing them.
Well, okay, you're trying to compare what you do to I do it, and that's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Okay, grifter, let me explain that. You've gone into county council meetings and misquoted.
You've already talked enough about me. I think people understand what your claim is against me. My question is, how do you satisfy yourself in asking someone, a family who's already been deprived of everything, lost their children, everything is gone, right? How can you in good conscience say, here's the $37.50, you need to pay this, and then for every ream of paper that's another $1,000, and then say that you are acting in good faith?
That's easy to answer.
Okay.
And the reason I provide that notice is because it's against the law to guarantee. No attorney will guarantee, so why should I? Okay, you're asking me to commit a crime.
No,
anybody who guarantees a result in court is a liar and a scammer, and it's against the law. You want to hold me to a standard that you can't hold any attorney to. That's bullshit.
No, but you did guarantee. You said the only guarantee that I will provide is that I will have 100% of your money. That is your guarantee. I don't guarantee anything. Just the only thing that I'm going to guarantee is the fact that I'm giving 100% of myself to this cause. So, I mean, some of this stuff
100% of frivolous information. Mine is legitimate work that does provide results. I win the majority of my cases, and I give out court case cause numbers to prove it. Right. Can you give out any court case cause numbers of any case you've won, whether you call it donation or selfless or whatever?
And around,
Louis, I don't think that you understand that our strategies are different. I'm not fighting in family court for people that are in court. I mean, all right, let me take that back. I am not representing people in court. I'm not providing the motions. I'm not addressing their specific case in any court because I'm not licensed to practice law. So everything that I am doing is extracting information that can be found through OSINT, that's open source intelligence, and trying to extract this information, build a dossier to get these judges under investigation, and ultimately get them removed so that they're not harming these families anymore. So our strategies is very much different, and I do have to have, unfortunately, money to operate.
There's hundreds of people that have done what you've done. Everything you're doing now has been done before by hundreds of other people.
All right, guys. All right. We get the point. We get it.
You bring nothing new to the table. This is all.
You guys are both different. The people have heard what you guys got to say tonight. I appreciate it. I respect both of you guys tremendously. I really, truly wish that a togetherness could come of this, opposed to an argument about this, that, or this. it doesn't seem like that is going to be what is the case, but so be it. You guys both put up great arguments. You guys both pled both of your cases. And after this night, it's going to be up to the people, I guess, to decide what happens with these things. I was hoping that it was going to be a handshake or a better understanding of one another. I really was. Whether that can happen, I don't know. But I know that you guys are awesome. I know that both of you do great things for the cause. You know, whether you charge, whether you don't, whether you're this, whether you're that. And I think it's a damn shame if for the movement to lose either one of you guys. It's a damn shame.
Well,
So
Darren, if she really wanted to make a difference with this movement, then she would become one of my voluntary state organizers or one of my voluntary county organizers. And she would not be speaking at county council meetings because I could make her effective where she could cause parents to get their kids back doing effective shit, not useless shit.
Okay, so Lewis, did you ask her to do that?
I've said it several times.
No, but ask her now.
Okay, Jessica, would you like to become a voluntary state organizer or a voluntary county organizer? Because I could actually teach you how to be effective and do things that would cause parents to get their children back. For real.
Jessica, before you answer, remember, we're not enemies in this game. Like David said, we're all in the same, even though it's not focused on one certain thing. But I will tell
David
you.
Wiggle's a bad
Lewis,
example.
Wait.
He's
Lewis,
cuckoo.
Lewis, put him on mute. Jessica, I think it would be good. Honestly, you got to get past his ego. Because I'm telling you, he's just, sometimes you got to deal with assholes. And he can be an asshole. Just like I could be a bitch. You know, we're women. We know how we are. So I think you should think about it, even if that's all you say tonight. But the reason I asked him to ask you is because I think that he can use you and you can use him to further this movement.
I can make her 100 times more. I can make her 100, maybe 1,000 times more effective.
I had him on mute, but then I thought he could come back.
Not yet. So Jessica,
Right.
Just if you don't want to answer now, just think about it.
No, I'm happy to answer. But I have a question first. And my question is, Lewis, if we make this agreement, would you be willing to go to a county commission and city council meeting and do the same thing that many families are finding to be effective and helpful? Would you be willing to go and at least do something similar in your local county?
Absolutely not. Because what I'm doing is way more effective.
Lewis, put him on mute for a minute. Lewis, listen to me. I like you. But you know what? Sometimes you got to give a little to get a little.
Mm-hmm.
You got to bend at some point. You ain't got to bend over. You ain't got to bend backwards. But you got to give a little to get a little, man. Listen to me. I've been doing this. I don't get into all that other shit you get into because that shit, I ain't got time. I got other shit to do. But listen, you have an ally. She just asked for you to do one thing.
Can I unmute it?
Yes.
Effective, where she wouldn't be in the limelight, she wouldn't be in the cameras, she wouldn't be recording herself speaking at a council meeting, but she would actually be.
All right. Here's where I'm going to believe that one. Lewis, just think about it, because I think that you really want to say yes to this. I just think.
Of course he does.
Of course he does.
He just doesn't want to do it on the air.
That's damn right. Hey, Jess, you did a great job. Lewis, you did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I appreciate it a lot.
You guys are always welcome here, and I think that we are going to see.
I want to talk to her for a minute.
Yeah,
after
Jess,
the
will
show.
you sit back for a moment?
Sure.
Yes. Thank you. All right, Lewis, thank you so much.
Just hold on, Jess. Just hold on.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing us some support. This is what we got to do. We got to burn the bitch down.
These fucking judges, what a nerve. taking kids, ruining their future, making dads run scared through the fire. The courts destroying families, they're such a liar. When the days turn into the nights, they give up, they have no fight. When you break the man, you take his soul. When you take his child, consider yourself told. Let's burn the bitch down. They cause our pain. Let's burn the bitch down. We're not insane. Let's burn the bitch down. They had their chance. Let's burn the bitch down. We show our stance. We won't stand for this anymore. Here I am, let's settle the score. I don't wanna bust your balls. Your honor, you need to fall. You lie almost every day. Pissed off parents are on their way. You can get away with this anymore. Run scared when they pound on the door. You think this is a joke? You'll know better when you smell the smoke. We won't stand for this anymore. We are parents headed to war. Let's burn the bitch down. Let's burn the bitch down. Let's burn the bitch
We know it's all about the money, we know they lie, we know this is corruption. Does CPS know what they are doing to the children?
They said don't fight the system. They said stay quiet. They were wrong. Lock in. We are exposing what so many have failed to. We are gonna show you what bar attorneys have hidden from all of us. Hundreds of thousands of children and twice that of parents have been lied to and walked down the road of termination. It's the death penalty. We're all of the protesters, the ones who fight for the rights of prisoners, dogs, illegal immigrants. Why aren't you coming to the aid of our children and families? Right here in America, every day a child per minute is kidnapped. And no one cares. We fight alone until today. CPS Punishers mount up. Here comes the CPS Punisher.
Anonymous tip, another lie from one of them. No warrant, no proof, just a badge and a grin. Stealing kids like trophies, thinking they'll win. Mama crying on the porch, daddy in the cage. System wrote the script, but the CPS Punisher just flipped the page. The educator they banned, I see every violation, every forged line, every ex-part hearing, every stolen time. One tap of the app and the truth ignites. Welcome to the CPS Punisher, now we can fight. CPS and the courts have lied to us all.
The courts will not disgrace the family. CPS Punisher,
Here to avoid the chains and expose the game.
CPS Punisher,
The educator they never wanted you to find.
Punisher,
One tap and their empire cracks. We rise, we take our kids back. The app is called the CPS Punisher. I'm the cape in the shadows, the skull in the night, the binder full of secrets and weapons you all need. Ab initio, watch me void that lie. Fourth Amendment armor, watch the tyrants cry. Falsified drug test gone in a flash. I see Tevio, warrior, due process king. Every parent's hero when the hotline rings. I call it justice. Download the truth, now the system busts us. From the courtroom to the streets, hear the battle cry. The CPS Punishers arrive. Kiss your bar asses goodbye. They tried to silence us, now we're the loudest voice in the room.
CPS Punisher,
Here to avoid the chains and expose the game.
CPS Punisher,
The educator they never wanted you to find.
Punisher,
The children never leave again. Families rise, we never look back. We now use the CPS Punisher. This ain't revenge, this is reunification. This ain't rage, this is resurrection. Open the app, step into the fight. You ready?
CPS Punisher,
The app you need when they took your kid.
CPS Punisher,
The truth they hid, now the truth gets lit.
Punisher,
Download the power, take back the throne.
Punisher,
You're never alone. CPS Punisher. The educator they never wanted you to find. Void complete. Family restored. The bar is finished. The Constitution will prevail. Judges do what's right. Treason is your penalty.
CPS Punisher,
Here comes the CPS Punisher.
Imagine being a child who has been torn away from their security blanket, their parents, the ones who stopped the boogeyman from terrorizing the nights and curing their boo-boos when they scrape their knees. Now just imagine how they mightest feel when the CPS meant to protect them tears them away from their supposed abusers and places them with strangers who have zero comforting skills. They need to be calm. They are confused, lost, panicked, and needing their parents, but CPS took them away for the purpose of saving them. The kids don't even know why, and they are told that the parents they attach to no longer want them. What do you think that does? Do you think that this is how protecting children is supposed to look?